1990s, Jill served in the United States Army and got the attention of a recruiter for the Delta Force. In spite of her sex, Jill was allowed to take part in the 6-month operation training course, where she excelled in bomb disposal, lockpicking, and known for her delicate, thorough, and precise work. Sometime between 1996 and 1998, Jill was recruited by Albert Wesker for the Special Tactics and Rescue Service, or STARS, an elite Raccoon City Police Department law enforcement unit that relied on military veterans, weapons-trained scientists to solve serious crimes. By July 1998, Jill was in Captain Wesker's Alpha team. Her function was cited as a B&E specialist, and in maneuvers was positioned in the rear of the team with the STARS helicopter pilot Brad Vickers. Now we move on to the mansion incident. In the spring and early summer of 1998, Raccoon City was haunted by the deaths of a number of hitchhikers and suburban families. Their deaths implied both vicious dog attacks and groups of cannibalism. With the Raccoon City Police Department at a loss, STARS was given the order to head into the Arklay Mountains in search of the suspected hideout. Bravo team was sent out on the night of July 23rd, and contact was subsequently lost. The following day, Alpha team was sent in to investigate their disappearance and continue their investigation, finding the helicopter derelict and its RPD pilot Kevin Dooley dead and mutilated. Alpha team was confronted by a pack of wild dogs, who then killed Joseph Frost. Jill, Chris, and Barry fled into a nearby mansion, while Brad, in shock, fled to the helicopter and abandoned the team. Within the mansion itself, the 4 team members split up and explored the mansion on their own. Over the course of the night, they pieced together independently that the mansion was the facade to a bioweapons research lab and under the control of Umbrella, STAR's biggest donor. Jill began to suspect Barry was working against them, owing to a series of suspicious actions, but later it was discovered that Captain Wesker had manipulated Barry with threats to have his family. Wesker was in fact on a mission from Umbrella to retrieve bioweapons research, then destroy the laboratory and kill the STARS team to silence witnesses. The dog attacks and cannibal murders were found out to have been the result of the T-virus, a bioweapon which had leaked into the surrounding area. With Wesker faking his death when Jill activated a renegade bioweapon designated Tyrant, Jill, Chris, Barry, and Bravo team's Rebecca Chambers escaped the lab before its destruction on Brad's helicopter. Raccoon's destruction. After their return to Raccoon City, STARS requested a full-scale investigation of Umbrella's activities and was denied by their superior, Chief Brian Irons, Chief of Police. With no support from the American government, Chris, Barry, Jill, and Rebecca Chambers decided to travel to Europe to investigate Umbrella themselves. Chris went ahead and traveled to Europe by himself by the end of August, while Barry went to Canada to relocate his family. Jill decided to stay in Raccoon City in order to investigate the whereabouts of Umbrella's underground facility before joining her comrades in Europe. However, 2 months after the mansion incident, her investigation was ruined when Raccoon City's water supply became contaminated with the T-virus, causing thousands to mutate into zombies. Umbrella took full advantage of the situation and sent in an experimental BOW to test on the survivors. Amongst these was Nemesis Type T. The result of a T-103 tyrant being paralyzed by a Nemesis Alpha parasite. This created, also dubbed the Pursuer, was sent into the city with a specific mission of tracking down all STARS members and killing them. Jill herself trapped in her apartment until 27th of September, where she made a breakout. However, the number of zombies forced her to seek shelter in a nearby warehouse with Dario Rossio. an aspiring novelist whose daughter was lost to the zombies. The following night, Jill made a second breakout intent on reaching Raccoon City Police Station, with Rosario left behind upon his own request. While moving through uptown Raccoon City, Jill met Brad Vickers at the Blackjack Bar and warned her of the pursuer. He died soon after when the pursuer tracked him down to the Raccoon City Police Station. Jill explored the police station herself and found it was no longer safe, with the only non-zombified police officer being an injured Lieutenant Marvin Brannigan. At the Star's office, she intercepted a USB-C radio signal from Corporal Carlos Oliveira and abandoned the station to investigate. Over the course of the 28th, Jill worked with the group of 3 USB-C members, Captain Mikhail Victor, Nikolai Zenov, and Corporal Oliveira himself. This she did not reluctantly do to her association with Umbrella. Through it became clear that they were merely mercenaries sent out as sacrificial lambs rather than employees. Jill worked with Sergeant Zenov and Oliveira to repair a tram where they hid. While Captain Victor was too wounded to help during the search, Sergeant Zenov was presumed dead, and the remaining 3 drove the team to the St. Michael's clock tower, which had been flagged by USB-C as a safe evacuation point prior to their insertion. The pursuer attacked the tram, and Corporal Victor sacrificed himself in a grenade explosion in an attempt to destroy it. Jill and Corporal Oliveira made it through the wreckage, but found out that the clock tower to be lost to zombies. The pursuer stalked Jill through the tower, and Jill tried to ring the bell as a signal. The creature then destroyed the USB-C helicopter to deny her escape. In another fight with the creature, Jill was infected with the T-virus strain, unique to the Nemesis parasite. Her infection quickly took her toll on her, and she passed out, as Corporal Oliveira fought off the pursuer for the next 2 days. Jill lay unconscious in the chapel within the clock tower, guarded by Corporal Oliveira. In the early hours of October 1st, Corporal Oliveira went to the Raccoon City General Hospital in search of any treatments no longer possessing any of the antiviral drug to offer the USB-C. He returned later with a vaccine the hospital staff had worked on before their mutation. The vaccine did allow her body to completely destroy the T-virus, and some variants survived in a dormant state. She nevertheless recovered and able to walk on her own, and was warned that Sergeant Zenov was alive and should not be trusted. She soon met him at the cabin in Raccoon Park, where she learned that Umbrella was using the outbreak for combat test data. Escaping into the incineration plant P2A, a dedicated treatment plant for infected biomatter, Jill became aware of 2 things. Firstly, that Raccoon City was to be destroyed by a bomb. Secondly, that although Sergeant Zenov had stolen an on-site helicopter, another was entering the city with a pilot searching for her on the radio. Jill made it to the scrapyard, filled with corpses of the tyrants and a Delta Force unit. There she fought the pursuer again, now severely disfigured after an exposure to an antiviral chemical in the disposal plant. Activating an experimental rail cannon brought to the junkyard by the Delta Force, the creature was weakened further and left for dead. After several shots from a magnum, Jill then escaped the city with Corporal Oliveira and discovered later the man looking for her was Barry Burton. The experimental thermobaric bomb destroyed the city minutes later. The fall of Umbrella. In 2003, Jill had now focused her life on exposing and destroying Umbrella. She and Chris Redfield, again partners, had joined an anti-bioterrorist organization. They received reports of mutant wolves attacking a small village in the Caucasus region of Russia. Once they arrived to investigate, they found that the village was deserted and full of zombies. Looking for survivors, they emptied various empty houses, eventually finding a little girl named Anna. She explained that the people were bitten by the wolves and then they turned into zombies, and that our mother and father had also turned into zombies, but before so they had managed to hide her in a closet. They also found out that the most of the adults used to meet up at the old silo, so they were headed there to look for survivors. Once they arrived, they found the corpses of the village chief frozen to death, having hid in a refrigerator to escape the zombies. Once besieged by zombies, they tried to escape through the door through which they had entered, but found it to be blocked from the other side. Chris then shot bags of flour lining in the wall, and then broke a light bulb, creating a dust explosion, which they survived by hiding in the fridge. Once the dust cleared, they found their way out of the silo and were met with a familiar figure, Wesker. He congratulated them on their dumb luck having survived the attack, and they accused him of the incident, which he denied, stating that it was just another accident. At that moment, the floor in front of the silo collapsed, and two hunters jumped out and proceeded to attack Jill and Chris, as Wesker took the opportunity to escape. After they dealt with the hunters, they followed Wesker into Anna's house, where he stood in front of a safe. He claimed that most of the villagers worked for Umbrella, and that the owners of the house gathered data for him. Anna revealed that the place to be her house, and that her locket served as the key to the safe. Wesker took the key and opened the safe, while Jill, Anna, and Chris escaped, as the safe was rigged with an explosive by Anna's father in case a bad man came. From her, they found out that her father worked at the nearby chemical plant and figured out that it belonged to Umbrella. Chris and Jill now joined a regional biohazard containment unit to storm the facility, which was believed to be housing a new type of BOW. They were dropped off at the Caucasus laboratory, and they carried out a full-scale assault, destroying any of Umbrella's old biological weapons encountered, and skillfully avoiding traps. They made their way through the facility and eventually confronted with a new BOW. Talos, created by Colonel Sergei Vladimir, revealed himself to be the creator, and sealed Jill and Chris inside with Talos' containment room and activated the monster. Having no choice but to fight, the partners were successfully able to defeat it, even though their troubles with Umbrella were far from over. Jill and Chris were reluctant to celebrate their victory over Umbrella after escaping the facility, as they were well aware that their old nemesis Wesker is still at large. Umbrella quickly declined and was shut down. Jill and Chris remained partners and continued to try to put an end to bioterrorism,